Hi,
Here we
Aaron. How are
are.
you?
I'm great, man. Great to be with you again on day number 4. This is the grand finale.
Yeah, seriously, it's been a fantastic journey, like one of the most amazing weeks, and the participation, the excitement, the deep sharing. I mean, truly, the Holy Spirit caused a wave of forgiveness, and so many of you are a part of it. So that's what excites me the most, man.
Yeah, I've been just kind of scanning again the Facebook group today, and I know I've been saying this every night, but I've just been blown away, man, at the people are getting free. The transformations people are getting from this challenge really has exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, for sure. So to activate you all and say hi, our question to you is, what was your favorite insight from this challenge? Now, some of you may go, oh, I can't choose. And we understand that. But what would be one thing that really like, whoa, this was my amazing breakthrough idea this week? We'd love for you to put that in the chat.
So tonight we're talking about
a couple of things. We're talking about that fantastic mantra that you came up with, which I totally love. Ask that forgiveness show me God. So we're going to talk about God for a little bit, but really the main idea that we're focusing on today is vision. Vision, what does that mean according to A Course in Miracles? And also, I'm going to facilitate a little visioning practice. I learned this from my teacher, Michael Bernard Beckwith. It's a wonderful, simple thing that you can do to just tune in and listen to the highest vision. And we're going to focus that on where your spirituality goes from here, which is a fantastic question to explore.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So shall we jump into it?
Yeah, let's jump in. So I want to begin by just talking about who was God for you, my friend. What's different from the God of your childhood, I guess would be the way to say it, and then how you know God because of A Course in Miracles and your spiritual awakening and the stuff you've done.
Well, yeah, firstly, saying forgive God in the framework I grew up in is like the ultimate blasphemy. Ultimate, most blasphemous thing you could say.
Yeah.
But that's, again, because my conception of God that many of us were brought up with was very dualistic, very different than the God we are referring to in these teachings. And basically, the Course makes it very, very simple in the way that it sort of lays it out. And it says, basically, there's the one non-dual reality. And that is what the Course means when it uses the word Father, your Father. And then you are the Christ, or the Son of the Father, which is consciousness. So it's a really cool, there's a really cool correlation between the sort of the Hindu Sanskrit philosophy of Satchitananda and the Christian doctrine of the Trinity. When I grew up in church, the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, again, it's very, very dualistic. And I kind of find it funny because it's like the hardest concept for pastors to try to explain. And in fact, they don't even really try to explain it. They sort of just dismiss it as like, you can't understand it. Don't even try to.
Right.
They'll say the three are one, but they're separate, but they're one. Just get over it. And they just kind of, move on.
Don't ask.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Take my word for it. But yeah, the Course does a great job of explaining what it means to say three persons, three gods, one person, as we would say in Christianity. Now, in Christianity, of course, God is punitive and wrathful, and he judges sin and he condemns sin. And really, that's perpetuating the cycle of guilt, which the Course says is actually the whole problem. And when I first read, I think maybe the first quote I ever read from the Course about maybe 10 years ago now, I don't know where I saw it, but it was this quote that just was like, it gobsmacked me when I read it. Because I was just coming out of that legalistic understanding of God being separate from me and sort of like, watch it, young man, you better not misbehave. I was just coming out of that framework and questioning it a little bit. And there was that line that says, the first thing the Course says is evil doesn't exist, sin does not exist. And that was a real game changer for me, right? Because in Christianity, sin very much does exist. And you're all guilty of it, right?
Yep.
The Course kind of rips that out from underneath you and says, no, there's no such thing as sin. It's just misperceptions, misjudgments. So it says this line, Sin in the sight of the Holy Spirit is just a mistake to be corrected, not an evil to be punished. And something in me just came alive to those words. I was like, that's it. I always knew that was true. Like something about that old framework just didn't make sense to me. And so I grew up luckily in a very, probably the most progressive possible Christian denomination you can. You know, we basically just only ever talked about the love of God, the goodness of God. And that made the wrathful, judgmental stuff kind of awkward because, you know, we preach this amazing loving God, but he also tortures and punishes people. So we just don't really talk about that. Yeah. That was a paradox I also couldn't sit with. So all that to say, when we talk about this idea of forgiving God, we're obviously not talking about forgiving God for something wrong God has done.
Right.
We're saying forgive that God you believed in, the God of your own imagination, the God of your conditioning, the God of religion, the God of separation. We have projected so many ideas onto the divine, whether we call it God or not. We've projected so much of our own biases and judgments and ideas onto God, and then we suffer at the hands of those ideas. Why are you doing this to me? As if there's a God separate from you who can do it to you, right?
Yeah.
These dualistic mindsets just linger on so long. So we really need to forgive them, which, as we've learned in this challenge this week, is to simply see their unreality, right? See that they've never been true. And in that light, the mistake is corrected and we gain true vision, which is what brings true peace.
Yeah. You know, another way I teach about it is this idea that, and by the way, I really believe everybody here has got a pretty progressive, expanded idea of God in some way, because you wouldn't be here in this conversation with us. So we honor that. However, with the dramas of 2020 and what can happen to us when big things occur, things that really take us outside of our comfort zone, it's in that outer space where our God concepts can become wobbly, and the old God concepts living in the subconscious mind, they can become awakened, kind of like the three billy goats gruff underneath the bridge. You know, they come alive when you're outside of your comfort zone. So we're always looking for what else can be released. What else is hiding in the, you know, what other guilt ideas might be lurking in the corner that we can really bring to the light and surrender, because we want you all walking in the absolute full experience of oneness with God, because that's what's true. My story is a little different than Aaron's, as I think all of our stories are. Again, sort of the masculine angle and the feminine angle. Mine was the experience of really being born into a very, very deep traumatic belief of around 5 or 6, where I knew God hated me. I remember being a little boy and knowing that I was unacceptable in God's eyes and that I was going to hell. Now that's real trauma for a young child's mind. Like, how does a 6 or 7-year-old hold the image? It's psychic wounding, really. So this is like deep stuff. So I did what a lot of people do, and I just threw God out. Like, I'm not interested in this. You know, I don't know who asked for you anyway. Like, got very self-righteous and defensive.
And rightfully so. You should reject a God like that.
Right. Well, right. If that's the only option I've got, then my best choice is to pivot turn. But to be today, and this is the miracle, true miracle, to be here today and to, you know, more than the intellectual understanding, I know in my entire being that I am deeply loved by God. I know that I am unconditionally loved. There's nothing else I can ever be. I cannot do bad enough to be thrown out of God's love and support and oneness. And I'm telling you, man, those are not just words. I know this in my soul. And it is very, very healing. I mean, who I am today, because of A Course in Miracles, because of really awakening to the revelation of this all-loving God. And that is what A Course in Miracles talks about. That's the opportunity, the transformation. When we forgive God, like you described so well, when we let go of all of these projections and all these overlays, and we just, you know, the meditation was about washing them away and putting on a new cloak of God's love and light. When we stand in that, man, what becomes possible? The power, the access that you have to be a healer in the name of the Christ consciousness. It's phenomenal.
Mhm.
It excites me.
Freedom becomes possible
Yeah, real freedom.
only through love.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
Mm.
One of the things I love again from the course, Jesus says, and breathe this in, everybody. You are the work of God, and God's work is wholly lovable and wholly loving. This is how a man, woman must think of themselves in their heart, because this is what they are. This is what they are. So this is who you are, and this is what you must think about yourself in your heart. And this is the excitement of day 4, because you have done the work of day 1. You did the forgiveness of self. You did the forgiveness of others. You did the forgiveness of the world. And now the gift that is offered to you tonight at the end of this challenge that Aaron and I hold and know about you is your divinity, the truth of who you are.
I think that's why vision was such a good term from the course to encapsulate what tonight's teaching is about. Because what the course does is it liberates you from your flawed perceptions, right?
Yeah.
As you read it and the truths get in you and begin to do their work in you, the filters of your egoic perception just begin peeling away. And that's what the course says is vision, right? Is seeing without any filters, no perceptual filters. And so as we reject the old mindsets, the old beliefs that we know aren't working for us, we don't even have to accept the new ones or learn about the new ones. The course says, no, it's already your nature. You just have to get rid of the false. See the false as false and you're liberated. And so it uses that term illusion, right, to talk about this idea. And so tonight we're just trying to strip away some more of those illusions, those beliefs we have about God, which we're not going to so much focus on the religious ones, obviously, that probably nobody here really ascribes to anymore, like God burns people forever if they're not a Christian.
Right.
What we do want to talk about, though, are the ones that influence our daily life. Things like the belief in I am the body, I am the doer. We have this idea that God, this is very much instilled in religion. God has a plan for you. I heard that my whole life, and I was prophesied over by people. Hey, this is exactly what your one plan is, Aaron. So all of a sudden, I'm in this framework where, okay, there's one trajectory for my life, and I got to figure out what it is. And so everything that is seemingly wrong that happens, or uncomfortable or painful, I immediately go, oh no, I've strayed from the track of God's plan. I've screwed it up. Mm. And it's this belief in being the doer. I'm responsible for my life. I'm in control. I'm in charge. This is also one of the main teachings the course says you got to do away with this one. It's a cancer in your mind. It's ridiculous, actually, is what it is, to believe that you are the supreme Lord of the universe that organizes all the strategies of the environment around you to make exactly what you want to happen. It's like that's what the ego thinks in its arrogance, right? I am in control. Move aside, reality. Let me have my way. Yeah. And really, that is what causes us to suffer, because we then are bound to duality, right? We have to chase pleasure because we see pleasure as, oh, I'm fulfilling the plan. And we have to run from pain, which means, oh, no, I'm losing the plan. And then the guilt and shame that comes with that. I mean, that was one of the main things I suffered from as a Christian kid, was this idea of like, oh, no, I sinned. I'm so sorry, God, I lost your plan again. Please give me a millionth chance again. This constant feeling of guilt. But we still live with that, right? Even without religion, there's still this inherent belief, I'm separate from God, therefore I need to do this thing. Yeah. And that's one of these filters we're trying to get rid of, right? God is in control, surrender, trust, give it up, and leave it in God's hands, right? One of my mantras is, I am a child in the lap of God. Mm-hmm. In any situation that's uncomfortable, would I ever mistrust my Father, that he has ill intentions for me? And I think we put that quote in the meditation this morning. What could you not accept if you but knew that everything that happens, every event, is planned by one whose only purpose is your highest good?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So what we're talking about here tonight, everybody, is really the full surrender to allow the vision of God that is inherent inside of you to come shining through. And there's a paradox. There's a paradox here, because as we fully surrender, as we do give up the wishing and the hoping and the trying to make things happen and find that purpose and, take that next workshop and read that next book and all of these things, and which can serve us at different levels of evolution. But man, we're in the real game here. We're in the game of what if you really had full faith, really gave it up, crawled up into the lap of God and really just completely let go. And here's the paradox. The paradox is all power is yours. Access to a life and a flow, the freedom and the love, like we keep using these words, this becomes yours in overload. And it is taught in the course that which you desire from the ego will be nothing. It will just look like child's play. It will look like child's toys that you've been wanting compared to the gift of the vision of God that is alive in you. It's just beautiful. It really excites me. A few years back, I had the really fortunate experience of hanging out with Byron Katie in Ojai, California, which is where she lives. And it was a small group. There's like 15 of us. And we were there for 3 days. And she may have said this other time, so it's maybe a repeat, but I remember being there when she said very simply, and it's profoundly struck me, she said, to call reality good is only scratching the surface. And when she said that, I was like, to call reality good is only scratching the surface. That means that there is...
I am so far off.
That means that behind this scratching of the surface, what I got was what this enlightened woman who was fully free of all these filters, just completely dissolved, what she was able to experience and know and feel. She just walked in the bliss of God, and she didn't have words to describe what it was like. And I felt it in that moment, and it was really profound. It was beautiful. And what I know is that that's not a special something. That's what we know. It's not a special thing for Jesus or Byron Katie or Eckhart Tolle or all the people that we sing their praises for. It's you. It's in each one of us. It's ordained.
Yes. That's something else the Course talks about all the time, is like, you just can't imagine how happy the world becomes. Yeah. They'll say things like, you can't imagine how the world will sparkle once you get rid of all of these contaminants you're looking at it through. It's like, it's not reality's fault. It's not the real world. It's not God's world that's the problem. It's the way you're looking at it that's the problem. Yeah. So it's really the points of view we get stuck in that become our captors, so to speak. Yeah. And these truths liberate us from those captors and allow us to truly be free. Freedom is what we are. Freedom is our birthright. Every single person here has just as much access to that state of consciousness as a Byron Katie or an Eckhart Tolle. Why? Because we are all that. We're already that. And that's where you have to begin from, right? The Course doesn't say, let me teach you how to become something you're not. It says, page 1, you are that. Now, let me show you how to finally believe that it's true. Because it's the beliefs that are holding you up. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we know that one of the most fantastic ways to get there is, of course, forgiveness, which is what we've been doing. And you've been doing that. You committed, as I already said, day 1, day 2, day 3, you've been doing it. Not only have you been doing it to whatever degree you've been doing it, you agreed to be a part of this gigantic wave where all of us get lifted up together. So what we have been a part of this week is greater than any individual. All of us are lifted up higher because of all of us being here. And I think that's beautiful. I really do. We will not know with our human eyes the healing and the opportunity and the love that was caused in this week that you are part of. We won't understand with our human self, but I know with my soul and with my heart that it is a gigantic wave, and it shall do and will continue to do amazing things. So the preacher man's coming out of me tonight.
Let them come out, baby. Well, just, I guess, to give them like one kind of practical takeaway, right? We've tried to do that every night. When we talk about what does it mean to trust and surrender, in a very simple way, whenever we have a life experience happen that would seem to indicate that God's not on my side or God's punishing me for something wrong I did, these ideas still linger, even in my own mind.
It doesn't work for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
when I was really first learning about surrender, it does really, the ego resists it a lot because the belief I'm in control is so prominent in our minds. So I would have something really painful happen, and immediately something in you gets mad at God. Immediately something goes, why would you do this to me? What could possibly be good about this? So I used that anger, and I just tried to change the angle of it a little bit, because sometimes that's all you have access to doing. I'm really mad at God. I'm just going to turn this anger, 90 degrees, and I'm going to say, all right, I dare you to prove me how this is for my highest good. Like, prove me wrong then, won't you? And at least now some part of my consciousness is looking for the good in it.
Yeah.
Is looking for the lesson in it. And if, days, weeks, months, whoever knows how long goes by, all of a sudden that vision of what that experience taught me and showed me is revealed to me. I go, oh, wow, I guess I really did need that to happen, because I really needed to see that part of me.
Yeah.
And as you continue this practice of trust and surrender, I just assume that no matter what happens, it inevitably will be for my highest evolution. The epiphanies happen sooner and sooner and sooner and sooner. And then it's just, as soon as you ask, the seconds go by and you see the lesson already. Oh, I definitely needed to see that part of me. And then that doesn't even happen anymore. You just lose the ability to stop trusting God. You lose the ability to mistrust God, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is a non-negotiable for me. I might get a little whiny for a minute, and I got to, because it is non-negotiable. Life is for me. God is good, and there's a gift here. Like, that's really, like, I will not allow myself anymore to entertain a different thought, because I really I have like just total faith in that.
Yes, because it's really that whiny part of you, like you just said, that is the problem.
Yeah.
And you start seeing that more and more, right? You're like, oh, it's just my egoic, arrogant resistance towards reality. Like, something in me is rising up with arrogance to say, reality is wrong and I am right. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And you start seeing it as that.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in, I think, August or whatever. I don't know if you remember. I think I was texting to you, but I was driving along late at night, like hours from my home, and my tire blew. My tire blew on my car.
I do remember this, yeah.
Middle of nowhere. And I'm calling AAA or whatever, and like can't even find a truck. Nothing is available. I'm so in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, and I think I was texting you or whatever, and I was like, I was like, this is fine. This is not a thing. It's not a thing. I'm not supposed to be driving down the road. I'm not supposed to be getting somewhere. Like, it's not supposed to go the way I assumed it would, and that is completely fine. And that is just a tiny little idea of the beauty of this. Like, why would I get ruffled? I knew it's going to work out.
For what? For who, right? Who wants to get ruffled?
Yeah.
My true self certainly doesn't. Like, I'm going to be sitting down somewhere. Why is this any worse? When I have car problems, or like something, like I get stuck in traffic and I feel that egoic resistance, my go-to one is always like, oh, I just avoided a fatal car accident that I would have had if I hadn't been slowed down by this traffic. Like, woo, thanks.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
it's like, whether or not it's true, puts you in the right state.
Yeah, make up a good one. By the way, we're both wearing our Forgiveness Junkie shirts. I love that, because I know you guys loved it. I love that you all were like, where do we get one? We might have an idea about.
We're going to have a chance.
We might. So I'm going to move into a little visioning practice, and then we're going to pass to you guys for your questions and your participation. This is a very simple thing to do. It's called visioning. It's just a way of listening to spirit, going within. And I'm just going to do one simple question. And what I invite you to do is, the Course in Miracles says God is always talking. God is always talking to you. There's never a break in the flow of God's love and God's guidance to you. Now, we're not always listening to it or tuning into it, but it's always there. So this is a way to put our attention toward capturing God's idea, if you will. And I'm going to steer it specifically toward your spiritual path. Just going to ask a simple question and invite you to listen to the Holy Spirit, or whatever name you give it, to Jesus, to the light, whatever you call it, to see what guidance, love, inspiration, comfort may be there for you. So it's just going to take a couple minutes. You may want to write down, because very often when people do this, they really hear wisdom speaking. And so you want to capture that. So you can feel free to do that. Or perhaps tomorrow or the next day, you'll have a little more time to really contemplate this. Because you've done so much cleansing work, you've let forgiveness cleanse you. It's a great time to say, what is God saying inside of me? What is the light wanting to be and express in me in the upcoming months, year, whatever? Kind of letting 2020 go, taking a moment to glimpse the 2021, setting an intention, but listening to God for it. So that's enough explaining. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to invite you to do that if you can. Take a breath. Breathing your attention deep within. There's been a lot of conversation coming at you. Just bring yourself into the present moment. I am is here now. I am here now. And imagine the heart flowering open with a ball of golden light, and this represents the Christ consciousness, the connection to the divine, who you are, really. And imagine that there is a deep wisdom and guidance and love, which is true, but it's right in the center of your heart, right in the center of you. And it has a voice and it has a way of speaking to you. And so we simply ask, what is the highest idea for my spiritual path? What is God wanting, seeking to be expressed through me? How might that happen within me? What is your soul wanting for your spiritual awakening? And just listen. What is the guidance? Any insights? Feel free to take a moment to jot them down or just remember them. What is the inspiration for you about your spiritual path? Take a breath. And I always end these listening sessions, these visioning sessions, with a moment of gratitude. Always, always grateful for taking the time to listen, and grateful to the voice of inspiration, God, Holy Spirit, whatever name you call it, within you, that if not speaking to you now, is indeed answering this and will reveal to you images, thoughts, energies that are guiding you on your path. Good. And sometimes it's super simple. I love it because mine simply was, when I asked, it was like, be more present, take walks and notice the trees and be where you are. Like, that's my direction for me now from my spirit, which is be more focused on being in the now moment. Exactly what I needed to hear. I accept that. So thanks for doing that. And how about we move into some Q&A?
Sure, that sounds great. You guys can hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Okay. We've got about 17 questions in the queue already. The one that got the most upvotes is from Patricia. She says, during the morning meditation, Mark mentioned that past, present, and future events are gently planned for our own good. So how should we see and deal with difficult situations or painful events? Does God create those experiences, or are we the ones who create them?
We actually, well, yeah, go ahead, Aaron. We actually kind of talked about that, but do a recap on
Yeah,
that.
Can we do a quick recap?
Yeah, well, even to say planned is sort of just a concession to the limitations of language. It's not meant to be literally taken like God's like writing a script for your life. It means that when you're in the right state of consciousness, when you're in alignment with source, meaning I trust source, I trust God, you're on my team, I'm on your team, then you just stop resisting life, because it's increasingly seen as sort of insane to do that, and putting yourself at enmity with God or with the universe. And so you realize every time I resist life, I move out of alignment with it. So actually, life's not the problem. I'm the problem. I'm making myself an enemy to life. Life's never been my enemy. Life is on my side. I am life. So in that sense, there's no me or God who does or doesn't plan. The two are one. God is experiencing itself. And the more you know that, the more you say, okay, why would God not plan its own highest good? Like God's evolving into an understanding of what it is through me. So it obviously wants to do that. So I have nothing to fear anymore, right? I don't need to resist life as if something can go wrong for me. Something might certainly be challenging or painful or difficult, but a lot of good comes out of that, right? You go to the gym to work out, to put yourself through uncomfortable workouts. That's how you get fit. That's how you get in shape. It's the same thing with spirituality. We get spiritually fit by the catalyst life brings us, by taking them with trust and surrender. And just really, like we've talked about in this challenge, let Holy Spirit show you, right? Don't be the doer. Don't put yourself in control. Just say, okay, show me what this situation has brought to me, God. Show me what I can learn from this. Yeah. And typically you can only know the lesson in hindsight, but in the present moment, we just keep our eyes open and trust and surrender.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also what we've been talking about is a practice, making the decision that God is here, making the decision that this is for my good. I don't need to understand it. I may not ever get it, but I have faith in the love of Spirit. I have faith in the divine orchestration, and I'm a part of that. Like that is just, to me, that's just true. And it's great because you're no longer a victim. And everything that's happening is being orchestrated, and it's for you, and it's for your evolution. Like I really see the world that way now.
Alicia has a question. A thought that keeps popping into my mind is that if we are source God, having experiences to get to know itself, then why does it matter what choices we make? Why work so hard to better ourselves when from a higher perspective, either path will equally contribute to source learning about itself?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what choices you make. It only matters to the extent you care about suffering or happiness. Like the ball's always in your court, right? If you want to have an experience that leads to suffering, universe is totally cool with that. That's equally valid, right? So that's why there really are two paths we can take, the positive or the negative path, and both will give the source an experience of itself. One path is going to contain a lot of suffering, separation, grief, anger, etc. If you're cool with that, by all means, right? We're not here to force anything on you. We're here because we don't like suffering and we want to be happy. And so to do that, the Course says, okay, if you want that path, I'll show you how to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I studied Siddha yoga a while back, and the guru is Guru Mai Siddhavilasananda, and I was at a conference with her in Palm Springs, just a loaded auditorium of people, and someone asked the question about making a choice. You know, what is, do I choose this? Do I choose that? How do I know? And I loved her answer. It forever stayed with me, because she said, well, if you're interested in a more loving world, if you're interested in more loving life, is one of the choices more loving than the other? Just sort of get the feeling of that. And if one speaks to you as a more loving move, then move in that direction. And if it doesn't matter, then choose whatever the heck you want. It doesn't matter. I love that answer.
You're sort of like the judge, jury, and executioner yourself, right?
Exactly.
Ramona has a good question. She said, out of all the days, I'm feeling so much anxiety today. Could it be my ego resisting and feeling challenged?
That is always what anxiety is.
Mm-hmm.
Ego's feeling threatened. Anxiety is sort of that existential angst type of energy that the mind puts on you when it's trying to motivate you to go get it the outcome that it wants, like or to avoid a bad outcome, either one. And the ego understanding that its belief in doership and control is being challenged and threatened it's going to go to that energy to kind of scare you away, right? Well, I don't know about this stuff. This sounds a little scary, but as Course explains, it's just an illusion. It's just the ego is trying to scare you away from that one. So just lean into it, right? Ooh, who is anxious? Somebody is really not liking this. Maybe we should investigate it a little bit more. See who it is. Let's find out. That's always the right mindset to approach those kind of energies with.
Yeah, that's good. And I've lots of people I've known over the years, and I've my students in my own life. Sometimes when you're growing into a greater expression of love in yourself, when you're sort of awakening to a larger idea of your oneness with God, or some release of these projections is happening, it can feel scary. Who are you going to be? You're changing, you're moving. That is a very common experience in people who move into spiritual awakenings, for lack of a better word. I don't always like to use that, but basically, when that's happening to someone, it can momentarily, the ego can say, oh no, don't go there. This is dangerous, but I think it's exciting. Anxiety is also excitement in disguise.
There you go.
So,
maybe something good is coming because of you being a part of this. So.
Nice. Kristen has a question. She says, hi, Aaron and Mark. How do I allow myself to receive love from Source? How may I get out of my own way? Thank you. In Lakesh Hunilik Lil. I think I'm mispronouncing that, but I tried.
Good attempt. I thought that was beautiful. That's a really great question. And
yeah.
What's inside of me is count the ways to love yourself. The Course in Miracles says every day we miss so many opportunities to gladden ourselves. I'm not as good at quoting as Aaron is, but I always get the right concept out of it. Every day there are countless opportunities to love yourself. And there's countless ways to do that. If that is a genuine desire of your heart, and you really, that's not just words, but you're really no, this is a yes for me. It's looking in the mirror, looking into your eyes, and telling yourself you love yourself. It's moving gently through your world. There's so many wonderful ways where little self-loving acts, affirmative thoughts, focusing your mind, doing these things adds up over time. That's, to me, the doingness of how to move into self-love. It's like working in the external world. What are the choices I'm making? And slowing down and kind of treating myself like a little child. What would you do for a 6-year-old child that was feeling unloved? What would you do? You'd take that child on your lap. You would ask that child, maybe that child needs a nap. You'd maybe take that child out for some ice cream or to play on the playground. What would you do to let a 6-year-old know that they're loved? And to understand that parts of us are still emotionally 6-year-olds looking for that love. And now the opportunity is for you to not be looking for it from another, to not be expecting or regretting what your parents did or didn't do. Give up all of those illusions and choose in the moment, what would love look like for you? What is it calling? How is it calling to be expressed? I believe that will always be answered.
Yeah. Love, we could say, is absence of ego.
Yeah.
So when you're asking the framework of the question being asked, how do I experience God's love for me? You can tell that that's the separate self is asking that, right? The separate ego wants to be loved by God, and it's literally incapable of being loved or feeling love. It is the opposite of love. It is separation and fear. So it's really just to get that one out of the way. And what is already there, the love you are, will shine through. So a little trick that I would do sometimes is connect with any love that you cannot doubt, like in real life, like your mom, your dad, or your child, like whether it's somebody you know loves you and you can connect with that love, or somebody that you love and you can connect with your love for them. There is only God. All love is God knowing itself. And even when we recognize in somebody else, whether it's a lover, a partner, a parent, a spouse, or a child, we see qualities in this person that we come to love them. That is God looking at a reflection of itself and going, oh, I am that, falling in love with itself again. So it's like, just connect with love, period, because there's only God's love. And just know that love you're feeling is you. It's not something outside of you coming into you. You are experiencing yourself.
Yeah. And you said it. I am that. Just point. I am that.
I am that love.
And I'm that love. And I'm that. And that, like, you just immerse yourself in it. You know, I mean, really the doing of it, I think the doing of it is simple. It's all here. It's the willingness. It's the stop entertaining the not having it.
Yeah. The idea you don't have it.
Stop entertaining that one and then finding proof for it, and turn your attention to activating it, seeing it, knowing it is here. And there's 1,000 ways to do that.
We have time for maybe a couple more questions real quick. This is a question that a lot of people are asking for your feedback on. It went way up in the upvotes from Mark. He's asking, how can I best use forgiveness to benefit from the situation of my son's disabilities as a result of a brain tumor removal when he was 13 years old? He has been at the house with his mom and me since the surgery 27 years ago. Do you have help for me in the best use of forgiveness?
Want to go first or me, Mark?
Go ahead, Aaron.
Well, I think this really gets into what our topic today is, right? Is to forgive God. I think if that one's resolved, all the other ones are resolved.
Yeah.
So starting at the source is kind of always the best idea. And truthfully, this is more kind of law of one stuff, but what I've come to know and see is absolutely undeniably true is that every single person on this planet, their soul came here on a mission. Their soul came here to learn something, to grow, to experience something. Every single person is a soul on an evolutionary journey. And it's really when we get locked into the, again, duality that there's this one life, this is the only life I have. And so why would anyone put me through something like this that's so cruel? So you're not connecting with the eternal dimension of you, but you're looking at yourself as a finite entity. Yeah. And that point of view will always lead you to suffer and to question, why God, why are you doing this? So always zooming out the perspective is the way to go with these kinds of questions. My son is eternal. He is on a journey, and this is one experience in an infinite amount of experiences his soul is choosing to have for his highest good. I can't see what that highest good is or what that lesson is, because that's for him. That's the lesson his soul chose. But let me not make this situation any worse by resisting and judging and hating it, right? As we talked about last night, let me not contribute to insanity in any way, but let me trust and surrender. And really, when we know ourselves to be eternal, that is multiplied to everyone else. Automatically, we project that onto the world. So it's like work out in yourself what beliefs you have that I'm not eternal, that I am a body, that I'm going to die, that I'm finite. When you resolve those beliefs in you, you'll resolve them for your son and for everyone else in your life.
Nice.
Bam.
No add-ons, huh?
That was really lovely, Aaron. That was good. Actually, Julie, I think we need to move into our next segment here.
Yeah, and there's one question that moves really nicely into that. Martin is asking you both, how do we carry this teaching forward once this challenge is over?
Oh, well, look at that.
I love that question.
Yeah, Martin.
Now is our time that we would like to present to you what this has been kind of the training course. Aaron and I have created a program for 2021 called Living the Course. Living the Course is a virtual, more than a study group. It is a spiritual community. It is a people that come together to not only study the Course in Miracles, but to truly live it, to become it. And that's what we've created for 2021. And we'd like to show you this video, which summarizes it for you.
I've been studying and teaching A Course in Miracles for 15 years. And the number one problem that I always hear from so many people, I don't get it.
Oh, I get triggered by the language, or I can't get past the language barrier. And to me, that's the biggest shame of all, because it's sort of like a beggar sitting on a treasure chest of gold, but can't find the key to open it, you know?
Another one I hear is, Mark, I'm so pumped. I'm going to do the daily lessons next year. I can't wait. But then there's no accountability, there's no support. They don't make it past January.
A lot of people have bought the book, but it's just been sort of collecting dust for 20 years. And the thing about that is the course doesn't work very well on the shelf. So we really wanted to create a program that allows people to sort of engage with the text in a way that really allows them to receive the same healing and transformation that it's given to us. I think the reason that people struggle to understand the Course is because it's basically non-duality taught through the Christian language. So the Course sort of borrows these traditionally Christian terms like atonement, salvation, the Christ, but they mean something very different than they're traditionally understood. So because of that, reading the Course is really like learning a new language. The terminology the Course uses has very deep spiritual significance. And so this study group's not going to be your traditional study group where we just kind of read the text for an hour, but we're going to go specifically into the key terms and components of the Course that really help people more deeply understand it and live it. And living the Course is where the transformation really happens.
Understanding and consistency are the keys to unlocking the power of this text. If you feel like you don't understand this text, we will help you understand it. If you're having trouble staying consistent with it, we're going to help you stay consistent. And if you feel alone on your spiritual path, you are not alone. We have a global community that's going to study and grow together. This is our invitation to you. In 2021, lay aside all the other books, pick up A Course in Miracles, and come live the Course with us. Every morning starting January 1st, we're going to spend 15 to 20 minutes doing the daily lesson. We'll deepen in the understanding of it, we'll learn how to apply it, and we always end our time together in prayer, surrendering our day to the highest intentions of love.
A Course in Miracles really is the simplest, most efficient path to enlightenment, to helping us find real, lasting inner peace. And that's what this program, Living the Course, is all about. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, let's go.
Man, my favorite thing on earth to do is teach A Course in Miracles. And we're going to be doing it 365 days next year. Essentially, we're going to be doing this all next year. That's kind of what to summarize what this program is. And I mean, Mark's been, reading and teaching the course a lot longer than I have, but I feel like I could speak about how much this book has changed my life ad infinitum. And really, that's what the motivation for this program was for me. Is like most people who watch my channel know this. The course is my number one favorite spiritual text, and that's because it really truly liberated me from my suffering. And through that journey that I took with the course, I got to see firsthand the power that this book has. And not many people have an opportunity in this life to find a truly ascended master, a guru who's achieved self-realization to devote themselves to and sit under and achieve the same state as the guru, right? Very few people get that luxury, but this book is a truly ascended master in that sense. We say it's purportedly channeled by Christ himself, but whether or not it is, when you read this book, there's no doubt that this was written from a being that has achieved such an intensely high level of self-realization, and the words that it speaks just with like laser-like accuracy just point you directly to the non-dual reality in you. And it does that through the Christian language. And that's what the tricky point of the course is for a lot of people. is it's really a text on non-duality is what it is. But it's using these terms from the Christian religion as pointers. And they're very, very powerful pointers, especially I think if, like me, you sort of grew up in with any kind of religious upbringing, something in you resonates with these words. But a lot of people get hung up because they're not using these words like they typically do in church or in religion or something. But they're really representations of these non-dual truths. And when you kind of crack the code or sort of learn the language of the course, I mean, the text just sort of blows wide open in a whole new way. Yeah. And you almost feel like you're strapped into a roller coaster, like on this path to enlightenment. Like you cannot believe how fast you're getting free, how clear your perception is becoming. It just has a really unique way of getting in you and permeating through your whole being and just beginning to like radically alter your state of consciousness. And I honestly, Mark, feel like the course is like the best kept secret on earth or something. It's like this is the handbook. You know what I mean?
It is. And I love that you called it like this guru thing. I thought that's fantastic. I totally agree with that. You know, I consider myself more of a student of the course over my years, but I do, like you, I love teaching it so much. I've said many times, man, if I'm on an island, one book, don't even have to think about it. Don't even have to think about it.
Not even a question.
But I also want to say, and this is, I think, important too for you people listening, like why these guys? From the first time I met Aaron, which was just like an interview that we did back in May or June, whatever, of this year gone by, I was like, and I think you guys know this too, like you hear him, it's like, holy crap, this dude has got something real. And I was like, and it was so easy to hang out with you, and it was so easy to have these conversations. It was like, man, I want to have more conversations with him. And that just kind of started happening, and it's brought us to this point. So I really believe part of the magic, honestly, is it being in the group with us, which is what we want you to choose, is there's an admiration we share for each other. We love how each other approaches our own understanding and shares. And I'm always growing and listening, and he's growing and listening. And you are going to help us grow and listen, and you'll be a part of that too. So just what is the program again? Just to recap, it is the daily lessons every morning, 365. We will be there videotaping them, making them available for you throughout the day. 15 to 20 minutes at the most. That's not a lot of asking, but we're going to help you show up and help you get the deeper revelations out of it, keeping you consistent and accountable. Because if you show up for these lessons, when you show up for these lessons, they do the work. They do the unraveling for you. So there's that. And we're also going to do 3 Thursday nights a month. We're going to get together, just like Aaron pointed out, and we're going to look at these concepts, and we're going to crack them open so that they're no longer mysteries. The words that are used are no longer confusing, but the real powerful life force and love that's inside of them is going to be activated inside of you. And that totally turns us on.
Really, we're going to be doing basically a workshop on one of the key terms from the course all year long, 3 Thursdays a month. And the reason that's so helpful for understanding this book is that, like, if you've ever learned a language, like I've been learning Spanish for the last year, if you've learned a language, you know how this feels. There's a certain point you hit where your brain has begun to condense these terms. And so when you hear a sentence like in Spanish, you've been like, okay, that word means this, that word means that. And then you string it together. Okay, I got it. And you get to this new stage where as the Spanish word is spoken, you just know what it means instantly, right? And that's sort of what we try to do in these Thursday night sessions next year, is like introduce ourselves to the true meaning of what these words are pointing to, so that as we start reading the book, truthfully, like I said a minute ago, the book just begins to evolve and deepen as you deepen. And you sort of begin reading past these terms, these key terms, and seeing the true meaning that they're pointing to, right? And that's really where the magic happens. So that's what these Thursday night workshops are going to be geared towards.
Yeah, I invaluable, totally invaluable. Not only that, I mean, we're really packed next year for you because we want you to spend the year with us. We're going to have special guest, renowned spiritual teachers come in and do exclusive workshops for you. We'll be offering a couple workshops throughout the year just for you, really listening to what is Spirit wanting to unfold and to offer you that. We also, if you register in the next 48 hours, you will be entered into the private mastermind group. Now, we just meet every other month, so it's 6 times a year we meet. But when we do, it is specifically focused in service to you. And where are you grappling? And how can we move you forward? We're dedicated to not only doing the text, living it, but also creating a real community where you feel loved, you feel seen, you feel part of it. And that's really important to me. That's what's kept me in spiritual community my entire life. All of this we're offering to you for $900 if you pay in full now. Now, this is special pricing just for you because you did the challenge. Challenge people only, $900 if you pay in full, or we do have a payment plan. If that's too much for you to come up with now, you can do the payment plan of $165 for 6 months. Just once for 6 months, you pay $165, and that will get you through and allow you to spend the year with us. So Julie, if you could post the link up now so people can do that and hang with us, people.
We are posting the link away in the chat. We're answering lots of questions, and I've been outlining each one of the elements of the program and our community. And the one thing I wanted to just touch on, if you guys wouldn't mind, is the Facebook group and how we're collecting privately in a group setting. Yeah,
I was going to stress this too, Julie. Really, the exciting thing and one of the key points to this program is the community aspect of it. This is something that I have missed from growing up in church, having that community. But when it comes to the course, it's like specifically extra powerful because, like I was explaining, the way this book just kind of goes to work in you. I like to say it's like a serum you inject. Every day you come do the lesson, you start your day just with one principle the course teaches you. Like, lesson number 1, I think, is you've given everything all the meaning it has. And just to take, 15, 20 minutes, start your day to really condense that, chew on that a little bit. It's like you just injected a serum. And for me, as time goes on, doing these lessons together, it's like that's when the work starts to happen. And it just begins to that serum just starts to eradicate your belief in separation. And you just sort of notice it in the way you're perceiving reality differently. And so the cool part about community is that, and this is why Mark and I connected, I think, specifically, is that we both have this deep love and passion for the course, and it's been permeating in us for so long. We start sharing our experiences of it, like, oh, here's a breakthrough I had, or here's something I saw, or this passage really helped me see this. And we start playing off each other, and it's like my breakthrough becomes his breakthrough and vice versa. So it's the sharing, and the course talks about this a lot too. It's the sharing of these truths with others that something about it allows the mind to believe it faster and quicker. It's like, oh, everyone else is getting this. It helps me to get it too. And I truthfully wish I had joined an ACIM community, sooner than I had done, because I spent the first year when I was really suffering through my depression. I was like, this book's got to get me out of here. Like, I don't think anything else at this point is going to save me from this depression. But something in me believed that this book had the answers, because I would read the words of it and they just carry such an authority. Yeah. And if you read the course, you know what I mean. There's a power to these words that I've experienced in other spiritual texts for sure, but the course seems to just kind of be on another level. And I would read these words and know this is coming from truth. So I may not know how to get myself out of this, but I believe that you do. I sort of like took this relationship to the book like Jesus with his disciples, in that passage where they say, Jesus, like, are you guys going to abandon me too? And his disciples sort of look at him and they go, where will we go, Lord? You alone have the words of truth. It was like, that was kind of my relationship to the book. And man, within a year of doing these lessons, I mean, it was honestly a few months, I started noticing these dramatic breakthroughs I was having. But this book truly did liberate me from the worst period of my depression. And I just feel so much, Mark, like I wish I could allow people to just jump inside my consciousness and just glimpse my world for a minute. You wouldn't believe how much peace you can have, how much happiness is available. And really the course is like the handbook to get there. I agree. And the community part, the Facebook group,
the place you can go and really get support, because that's another thing. So many people do the course alone, or or you might form a study group, and that's cool, but we're really committed to creating the community component. It says in Course in Miracles, alone we can do nothing, but together our minds fuse into something whose power is far beyond the power of its separate parts. And that really, to me, is the hard bit. Alone we can do nothing, but together our minds are going to fuse, and man, the transformation that's here for us. I also want to share that if you join in the next 48 hours, we have a very special gift that I'm excited about. Julie, would you please show them our Living the Course bracelets? Do you have that picture? So it's just a simple string, but where that gold bar is, that gold ball, it actually will say Living the Course. So it's going to be branded with that. And again, Aaron's wearing his, I'm wearing mine, and we want you wearing this. I mean, just think about that, wearing it together for the whole year, united, bonded as a community, committed to these principles, man. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for you to join us. So
we're doing blue and black, right, on the bracelets?
Yes, thank you. Man. Yeah. You can pick your
course colors.
Yes, blue or black, whichever one you want. I'm getting both.
To me, it's really, we wanted to have something that symbolized our dedication to this book in 2021. It's like every time I look at this wristband, it's going to remind me this year is a year for miracles. Like I'm in for this all the way, because it's so easy to drop off, right? This is what most people do. And I think just wearing that reminder kind of takes your excuses away.
Yeah, it's good. And I want to add to that, then we really are going to get your questions. We'll stay as long as you guys want. But, one of the things that the ego does, it's like, oh, I missed a couple days, or I fell behind, so I'm out of here. And we don't want you to do that. However you show up or don't show up, it's perfect. And if you get half of it, then that's absolutely more than you would have ever gotten without doing this at all. I'm not wishing that upon anybody, but I just know one of the fears that may come up is, what if I don't do this perfectly? Well, what if you don't have to do it perfectly? What if you're showing up and signing up and doing the very best you can will be more than enough? That's what I want for you. That's why I want you to join us.
Well said.
All right. What are some of the questions on this? By the way, thank you, Julie. An entire year of living the course costs less than $265 a day. What? That's amazing.
Yeah, when we were trying to decide our price point, we just thought, $100 a month comes to like $265, $3 a day, something like that. It's like a less than a latte at Starbucks, right? We feel like that was a fair offering. And then for this, we're going to give $300 off of that, so it's $900 for the whole year, which is something like $85 a month. So, we want to have as many people in this community as possible, which is why we're trying to make it as accessible as possible, whether that's a payment plan or you can purchase early to get a discount. We don't want anyone to be turned away just for the price alone. So if that is an issue for you, we can work with you on that as well. What we really are here to do is help you transform and change and get free in 2021. That's the purpose of this program.
Yep. That's good. All right, Julie.
We have a great question from David. He's asking, will you be using the FIP, original version HLC, or the latest annotated version of Living the Course?
I believe I have the latest one. I'm not totally sure though. Yeah, no, I definitely do.
I've gone through all of them. I'm just on Kindle now. I kind of don't pay attention to that, but we'll be clear.
Let's see.
Super.
Yeah.
Alex would like some more details and better explanation about the course hours. And just maybe you could repeat again how it works each morning, and then how it works every Thursday for the first 3 Thursdays. Would you mind explaining that again for Alex?
You mind if I take that, Aaron?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So every morning, starting January 1st, we're going to meet at 9 a.m. Eastern time, and we'll spend 15 to 20 minutes doing the lesson for the day. We'll always start with a little bit of centering to get ourselves connected. We'll read the lesson. Aaron or I or both will help you glean the important parts, do a little sharing to help you go deeper into what it's about for you that day. tee ourselves up, because sometimes each lesson, depends. It's got something for us to focus on for the day. We'll get ourselves set up. And then we always bring ourselves to a close with a little bit of prayer and intention, holding each other in our hearts. So that's the morning experience in a nutshell. There's 365 lessons, 365 days, perfect. And then in the evenings, I love Aaron's words, like it's a workshop, 3 Thursday nights. And again, all this is recorded. So if you don't show up, it's all in our member area.
Yeah, you get access to everything.
Access to everything.
Even the morning lessons, right? Like we understand a lot of people may not be able to actually join the live.
Right.
But the point is it'll be recorded very early in the morning, immediately available. So if you want to do your daily lesson like in the evening or lunchtime, like you can fit it to your schedule. But if you want to be live, you'll have to make the actual morning times. But yeah, all the content's available and all year long. So you can go back to any lesson you want to revisit at any time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, the Thursday night workshops are focused on really taking the, how do you describe it better than I do, Aaron?
The key terms?
The key terms. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the course, there's actually a section that says clarification of terms,
right? And
it goes through, what's the real idea we're pointing to here. And I think in the morning lessons, the daily lessons, we're just gonna, we read the lesson together and just like, what's the shift in perception today? That's it. Just very simple. We're gonna give you the core thing about the way you're seeing yourself or the world or others or whatever the lesson's about. We're just going to give you the key takeaway. And it's just something that I promise you, it gets in your mind, it gets in your heart. And throughout the day, your perception begins expanding. And really the lesson does the work for you.
Yep.
You just got to show up, read it, bring your heart to it. And again, the inner guru does the work.
Yeah, Aaron, Donna asked that will you be reading word for word or will you be interjecting modern language?
Yeah, we're not just going to like kind of read through the whole thing. Some of the lessons are very short and we probably will, but some of them, as you know, are like 5 pages long. So we'll vary it up depending on how the lessons are. Yeah. But again, there's always kind of the key phrase for the lesson of the day. And we'll be explaining to you really, again, the fundamental things that this lesson is trying to teach us, which can be a bit hard to grasp especially for a newcomer or somebody who's not really familiar with this language. We're going to sort of do that heavy lifting for you in the lessons.
Yeah. Highlighting the sentences that really excite me and turn me on. I love pulling those out for sure. And by the way, you made mention of this. If you're brand new, join us. We're going to really help you. We will help you launch your relationship with the Course in Miracles in a way that is really amazing for you. So you don't have to grapple and figure it out and throw the book against the wall. You don't have to do any of that. We're going to really make these. And, if you've been a course student for a while, like many of us, jump into the community, bring your wisdom. We all grow together. I'm so geeked to do another round of the lessons because I grow every time. It's limitless.
The book goes as deep as you go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
sorry,
Julie, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, Liza asked that if you wouldn't mind in a follow-up post in the Facebook group, please clarify exactly what book you're using. And I'm sure we can accomplish that.
Sure. Yeah.
Any other questions, Julie?
Yes. Mary is asking, will the Bonus Mastermind be one 1 hour session? Can you explain the Bonus Mastermind again?
Thank you. The Bonus Mastermind, there are 6 of them. Every other month, we're going to meet for 90 minutes. This will happen on the Zoom platform. So it's going to be our opportunity where everybody is seen and everyone's participating. We'll be creating an experience for us to go deeper with whatever people are grappling with. But it really is the opportunity to bring what's happening in your life. How is this playing on the field? And give you the space and the time to connect and talk about it. We'll do little breakout groups. If you know the Zoom platform, it's great for being able to go off into little rooms with 3 or 4 people and get to know community members more deeply. So there's a lot of more intimacy building in the mastermind group. And also, like I said, it's your time to go, this is what's happening with my husband. And this is great what the Course says, but and we're just going to let you bring it. And we're going to create the space for you to have your breakthrough. Because when you have your breakthrough, 10 other people get theirs.
It's contagious.
That's the beauty of the mastermind. So really, it's different from the workshop. It's different from the morning lesson. The
Yeah.
mastermind is your space.
And I feel safe saying, Mark, that the way you envision this with Aaron is that it's almost like a coaching session where like you're getting that direct feedback about specific situations and happenings that are going on in your own life.
Definitely. Thank you, Julie. And it just gives us time to stretch it out a little more, you know?
Yeah, that's sort of why, in a setting like that where we're really doing some interpersonal coaching with people and stuff, we can't have an enormous amount of people in the group. So that's why we're only making it available for those who purchase tonight, so that we get, a reasonable amount of people who are really, if you're buying tonight, it's probably because you're like, I'm all in, I'm committed. Those are the people we're going to be wanting to work with on an individual basis. But we will have Q&As on the Thursday night workshops as well.
Yeah.
And that won't be like for you to bring your personal problems and stuff, but that'll be like, I'm struggling to grasp this or that. Can you explain this or this? We will have Q&A opportunities for everybody in the program.
Mary is asking, what is the price if we decide to sign up at the end of the year?
So again, the full price is $100 a month, essentially. So the full package is $1,200. We're selling it tonight for $900 if you buy in the next 48 hours. But we also have a payment plan of 6 months for either the 12 or the 900, depending on when you buy.
Yeah. And remember, the bonuses here are the mastermind program, the fabulous bracelet, which I love.
Fabulous. The commitment bracelet.
Yeah, you get those extra. Yeah, your commitment bracelet. I love that.
Patty is asking whether or not it's lifetime access to the year of content, or is the content only available in 2021?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in this year and you're in for 2020, that content will be available. We at this point, we don't know, depending on how the supply and demand, how this program goes. If people want to run it back in 2022, we'll probably be glad to do so. We can't really indicate if that's going to happen yet or not. But yeah, it's lifetime membership for this content, and I think actually it will all be downloadable as well. So you can actually keep the video file if you want to save specific files to your computer and all of that.
Yeah.
And BJ is asking, when is the deadline tonight? And so I'm saying midnight Pacific Standard Time in the US.
Yes. Yes. And if you're listening later to this, do it now.
Now is now for you now.
Now is now.
It's for the hundreds and hundreds of folks that are on live right now.
Right.
Yes.
We have almost 2,000 people registered tonight, so we've got lots of folks online.
Awesome. Yeah. So for you, midnight Pacific time tonight to get the extra, to get the mastermind group as the bonus.
Mark, are we going into this yet?
Not yet, but go ahead if you want.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the deal is. We're making them available, right? Is that the thing?
These will be available. These fantastic shirts. Also, they just kind of came to be.
It was on our first call, remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because
it was on that call.
We said we were forgiveness junkies.
You said I'm a forgiveness junkie, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious. I should get a T-shirt that says that. And then you sent me this in the mail like 2 weeks later.
Yeah. That was
like, I like this guy.
Yeah, I was like, I got to get me one too. Of course. Yeah. So we're forgiveness junkies. You get to be a forgiveness junkie. Of course, we're going to make these available to you later on. But we want you to order the course tonight. We want you to get in this mastermind program. We want you to wear these fabulous bracelets with us, and we want you to make the commitment to your happiness and freedom and peace. That's what we want. Anything else, Julie?
Yes. Lots of folks want to find out more details about the raffle. And so I just want to remind everyone that we have a winner being announced for the free seat in Living the Course. Will be announced tomorrow at 12:30 on Facebook Live. So be sure to keep an eye out in the group, in our challenge group, where you will find Mark and Aaron tomorrow at 12:30 answering more questions, but also revealing the name of the first winner.
Yes. And if you don't wait to register. If you're a yes, register tonight, because if your name gets drawn, you get the money back.
You get a refund immediately.
You will get an immediate refund. So, if you're in, make your in happen tonight so you can get the extra bonuses. And then again, if you win, we're so happy for you.
That seems to be at the end of our Living the Course questions for tonight.
Awesome.
I think we covered it.
We did too. And just, from our hearts to yours, please consider doing this with us. It'd be fantastic. We'd love for that to happen. If you got more questions, we'll be on the Facebook group, the Forgive2020 Facebook group. We'll be there over the next couple of days. So don't hesitate to ask. We'll make sure to know what book we're using. So we'll get that to you. And I had one other thought and I couldn't think of it.
I'll chime in, everyone. So just as a reminder, everyone, the Living the Course Global Community founding member enrollment is only open through this Saturday, November 21st at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in the U.S. So you have time until the end of the evening on Saturday, U.S. time, to enroll at this founding member rate.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Mark, but I've had such a blast this week with this challenge.
Yeah.
And just like the feeling of like we're all doing this work together and getting to interact with people. Like I've loved the interaction so much in the group. And so I'm seriously jazzed to do this for a whole year in 2021. The community part to me really is like sort of almost the most important part of what we're doing here is creating this community, and really not even creating it. We've sort of already created it in Forgive 2020. We're just going to transfer it all the way to 2021. So that's going to be a blast. I cannot wait.
Yeah. And, the best way to bring this time to a close is with great appreciation for you for saying yes to the challenge, because again, the challenge can stand alone. If it's not meant for you to move forward with us, thank you for doing the challenge.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being a part of this love wave, this forgiveness wave, this deepening that I know is a gift we've all given to humanity. So we both deeply honor you for that. Thank you for walking this with us.
Yes.
Yeah. Peace and love, everybody.
All right, everybody. See you soon.